Hello
and welcome to the travel show from Manchester Airport. On tonight's programme, we'll be bringing you up to date with the latest situation on the French roads. And we've got some good news for one viewer whose holiday to Portugal was cancelled at the last minute. More of that later. Also tonight, Paddy Haycocks visits Cyprus, the island that was his home 25 years ago. Carol Smillie sets sail from Plymouth with TV chef Richard Corley. And Matthew Collins takes a walk on the wild side on safari in Kenya. But first, the latest European travel news. There's likely to be trouble in Italy now. Planned industrial action by railway workers and air traffic controllers may mean that holidaymakers will experience some delays. So check the situation before travelling. As for France, the latest information is that the French truckers abandoned their last blockade this morning, ending the 10-day dispute that brought the country to a standstill. However, problems are still occurring as the situation returns to normal. Many French holidaymakers will be setting out for their annual break, and the roads are bound to be crowded on Tuesday as it's Bastille Day. Motorists are still advised to be well prepared before starting out, taking food and water, as well as filling up with petrol wherever possible. Although the situation appears to be improving, we do strongly advise you to seek the latest information via the RAC or the AA before you travel. The numbers are 0891 700 300 and 0836 401 904. That's 0891 700 300 and 0836 401 904. Now, our foreign report. Paddy Haycocks has been to the most popular holiday destination in the Mediterranean this year, southern Cyprus.
Legend has it that these rocks mark the birthplace of Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty and love, born of the foam here off the south coast of Cyprus. A romantic notion.
Hardly surprising then that Cyprus is one of the most popular holiday destinations with British tourists this year. But ironically, this popularity is leading to changes and developments which, if left unchecked, could threaten the very character of what most of the visitors imagine.
Over the past few years, tourist development in major resorts like Limassol and Paphos has boomed. In Paphos alone, about 12,000 new beds are being created this year, and there seems to be no let-up. All this is a far cry from the island which was my home some 25 years ago. But happily, for those seeking a quiet holiday, there are still large areas of the island which have managed to retain their natural charm and beauty. This is the northwest corner of Cyprus, the Akamas Peninsula.
Down there are the villages of Lachi and Polis. They're small, understated, and seem to me to have changed very little over the last few decades.
Lachi is still a busy little fishing village, and a fair proportion of the local catch finds its way onto the plates of those who have a meal at one of the many harbourside restaurants.
Now, for British tourists, handling money here couldn't be easier. The currency is in Cyprus pounds, and instead of there being 100 pence to the pound, there are 100 cents to the pound. And with the current exchange rate running at around 80 cents to the sterling pound, for every 5 English pounds, you get 4 Cyprus pounds. So, what price lunch? Well, come and look at this. Over here, we've got the very Mediterranean red mullet. That's just £4. And next to it, even more remarkably, this swordfish dish at £2.80.
Accommodation is limited in Lachi, but how would tourists feel if the developers moved in?
We wouldn't come back. We don't like it to be overdeveloped. It just spoils everything.
We booked a holiday over the other side of the island. We found it not to our liking. You know, the type of building that's going on there is tending to sort of take the pleasure away from going there. And this place is so lovely. looks much quieter. As you can see, I mean, you just got to listen to the ocean there. There's no motorboats, speedboats, these little jet skis. I mean, that's what people want, fair enough. They can go there and get it. But for this part of the island, I think they'd be foolish to do anything other than what they've done at present here.
Just a few kilometres down the road, Polis is as yet little more than a pedestrianised square. But here too, it's difficult to reconcile the conflict between tourists wanting to enjoy less commercialised resorts and the locals hoping to prosper from development.
We need the development
Why?
because we want the people to come,
Why do you want the people to come?
because most of people here now, they've got their whole life and the whole setup based on the tourists coming here, you know, the business, and everybody's trying to open something that's got to do with the tourists.
But what is the advantage in having more people?
More money.
Paphos, like Polis, was once a small fishing village. But today, development stretches several miles either side of the town, and it's still growing. There's quite a classy upmarket feel to the resort, which boasts a picturesque and pleasant fishing port in the old harbour area. Close by, the town's 3rd century mosaics and a collection of underground burial chambers known locally as the Tombs of the Kings offer a flavour of the Paphos of the past. But for a flavour of the Paphos of the present, check out the local restaurants. But if you prefer something beyond pre-packaged entertainment, even a major resort like Limassol, still very much a working town, can surprise the holidaymaker. It's well worth making the effort to take a journey into the back streets to sample a little local colour as the Cypriots go about their daily business. And a chance to dabble with the language. Following the Turkish invasion of the island in 1974, the relationship between Greek and Turkish Cypriots inevitably changed. Most of the original occupants have now moved on, but there's still visible evidence of what was once the old Turkish quarter. Sensitivities, too, have changed. In the late 60s, I'd unashamedly order one of these as a Turkish coffee. Today, here in the south of the island, it's more prudent to ask for a Greek or even a Cyprus coffee. Cyprus claims 340 days of sunshine a year, so the beach figures prominently in many people's thinking. Oddly enough, the kind of golden beaches you might imagine you'd find are few and far between, and the beach at Limassol is not one of its strong points.
The beaches aren't what you'd expect them to be.
They're a bit grubby. They're not tidied up, you know. But once you clear a few rocks away, it's quite comfortable.
But a 45-minute car ride west of Limassol takes you to one of my favourites, which is not widely known. This is Bizuri, more the kind of beach you'd expect to find on the island of Aphrodite. In the shade of these mimosa trees, you can shelter from the sun, away from the hurly-burly along the coast. What's more, you can get a kebab-filled pita and a beer for under £2. But it's not just what you can get for your money here that appeals. There's a reassuring Britishness about the place too, signs of which crop up in the most unexpected of places. Driving, however, is more the style we're used to at home. It's on the left, which means you don't have to rack your brains at every junction. Cars can be hired at £16 a day, and petrol is about £2 a gallon. Driving up into the Troodos Mountains, you can again discover the Cyprus that remains unblemished by tourism. village, Larnia, like many others in the Troodos region, is in the forefront of a new initiative by the Cyprus government to strictly control the growth of tourism. Here, souvenir shops, a taverna and a gallery await the hourly tourist invasion by coach. While Larnia has already opened its doors to tourists, the trick here, as elsewhere, will be in not letting things get out of control.
The Haycocks Peninsula and much of Troodos offer a marked alternative to the package resorts. I hope the advice won't prove necessary, but I'd urge those who are looking for this kind of Cyprus to come before it's too late.
So, Cyprus, the resorts. Despite the wealth of hotels and restaurants in the busy town of Limassol, it still retains a Cypriot flavour, but the beach is poor. The west of the island offers a quieter holiday, and the main resort of Paphos is served by its own airport. From there you can visit the new resorts of Polis and Lachi and the Haycocks Peninsula. Inland, the Troodos Mountains are still unspoilt and well worth a day trip. Now some facts about Cyprus. Flights to Larnaca and Paphos airports from England take about 4.5 hours. A typical 2-week package costs £599 half board. Eating out is cheap. You can get an evening meal with wine for under £5. Entrance to most historic sites costs a mere 20 pence per person. Car hire is relatively cheap. A Class A car for £16 a day. You may have heard about problems with overbooking in Cyprus this summer. We're assured that 25% of the accommodation on the island is still available, but travellers are not encouraged to book flight-only holidays, so we recommend that you arrange your accommodation before you go. And if you'd like to win a holiday there in our weekly competition, here's the clue. What's the name of the legendary goddess of love? And there's another clue in the latest edition of BBC Holidays magazine, along with all the entry details and rules. Or, for a simple entry form, send a stamped addressed envelope to Cyprus Travel Show Competition, BBC Holidays, P.O. Box 1, Hastings, East Sussex, TN 35 4TJ. Now, remember John Calder from last week's programme? He was told at the last minute his holiday was being cancelled. No company would fly him anywhere because he was too large. Well, you'll be pleased to hear that the day after the travel show reported Mr. Calder's plight, Olympic Holidays offered him 2 seats for the price of 1 on any trip to Greece. So he will be getting his holiday after all. Now for another group of people who've had their holidays cancelled at the last minute. Over the past few weeks, we've received a number of letters from people who'd booked holidays with a company called Land Travel from Bath.
Good afternoon, Land Travel Friendly Holidays. How can I help you?
Land Travel, who also trade as Friendly Holidays, sell cut-price coach trips direct to the public through advertisements like these in national newspapers. But recently, they've been cancelling holidays at very short notice and not giving people their money back as they're legally obliged to.
We were due to go to Euro Disney with Land Travel of Bath on the 15th of May, having paid our full £958 for 10 people in February of this year, and the firm cancelled on the 6th of May, and we are still awaiting refund.
Dawn Honeyball's holiday to Spain was cancelled in May too, and she's had no luck finding out why her refund hasn't arrived yet.
They won't reply to any of my letters, and when I've tried ringing them, they won't give me any sort of response. They just say that there's no problem with having my money back, but they can't give me any guarantee of when I'm going to receive it. And if there's no problem, why haven't I had my money back?
Why indeed? Land Travel isn't a member of ABTA, so customers can't go to them for help. The only other option is to go to court.
Well, we booked a holiday for 21 friends to go to Rhineland with Land Travel. We paid the full balance for the holiday of £2,117 to Land Travel in February 1992. Land Travel cancelled the holiday 8 days before we're due to depart. I can't get the money back from them, and we're still waiting. And as a last resort, I've issued a summons in the small claims court for the recovery of my money.
So I went to Bath to ask Land Travel why these people were having to wait months to get their money back.
What has happened in the company is that at the beginning of this year, we introduced a computerised system, and we've had 5 people some administrative hiccups, there's no doubt about it. Also, because of the huge increase of popularity in our holidays, the company is actually concentrated on looking after the 99.9% of our customers who are travelling.
If you'd like to take the line, madam, I'll put your call in the queue. Okay, how many? Well, I've phoned them on so many occasions, it's too hard to remember how many times. And Land Travel just gives all sorts of excuses, and I'm still waiting for the money.
I mean, I'm not denigrating or saying or decrying that what these individual people have suffered in terms of frustration. I'm not saying that it's not important. In fact, I would like to personally apologise to them for any frustration that they have suffered.
They simply want to know why they didn't get their money back.
Well, in each individual case, I could actually go through a little series of paper chases to exactly what has gone wrong. And I'm not entirely sure that I could get completely to the bottom of it, because it's to do with our systems falling down due to the new computerised system.
Since our intervention, Land Travel have refunded those 3 people, but we know of at least 4 others who are still waiting to get their money back. And the company couldn't give me any assurances about how quickly refunds would be paid in future. If you've had a problem with your holiday and would like us to help solve it for you, call our moan line on 061 200 2999. It's open 24 hours a day. And now tonight's British report. Carol Smillie has been on a voyage of discovery from Francis Drake's historic city, Plymouth.
Salty old sea dogs, tales from exotic lands, and weather-beaten fishermen, Plymouth's fortunes have always been entwined with the sea.
After all, this is where Drake decided he had just about enough time to finish his game of bowls before chasing the Armada up the channel. Well, that's how the story goes.
Plymouth is of course a brilliant base from which to explore the southwest reaches of Britain. It's surrounded by the wild Devon coastline with Cornwall just across the water. And Dartmoor is less than an hour away inland. But many do overlook the charm of the ancient seaport itself. Although much of the city was devastated during the war, the harbour area called the Barbican remains untouched. And you can still wander down Elizabethan Street.
And here in the Dome, you can take a journey back through time to discover the sights, sounds and smells of Plymouth's past.
Oh, hello, my dears. Oh, didn't you give me a surprise there? Hello there, my handsome. No, my little dears, no. You just woke me up. I'm Robbie the Barbican boatman. Now, you little ones, I want you to be very careful when you're walking along this street here, because we got rats here, my dear. Oh, watch out for that rat there. Oh, look at that rat there, look. Oh, my dear life. What do you think of that one then, eh? Oh!
Plymouth has the biggest naval port in Europe, and to get a close-up look at the latest warships, you can go on organised boat trips. The tradition of making a living from the sea is still very much alive today.
This is Captain Jasper's. It's where all the fishermen get together at an ungodly hour once they've landed their catch. It may be early in the morning, but it's the best place to find out all the gossip.
And if you want to do the real thing, track down a skipper and set off on one of the many boat trips on offer.
Well, you can't come to Plymouth without going on an adventure, and I've managed to persuade TV cook Richard Colley to come to sea with me. But we've struck a deal. I'm going to sail.
And I'm going to cook. What is that?
It's a conger eel, I'm told.
Oh, look at these beautiful things. Those apparently are called cuckoo rat.
It's like a dance.
Oh, this is what I love, natural. That's what we want.
Oh, fantastic colour.
Why don't we just buy some?
Not on. You think you're getting out of it that easily? No way.
But I've never fished before.
You've got to catch it and then eat it.
Who's going to take? Will you take it off the hook?
No, you can do that as well. I'm doing the sailing. That's the deal, no way. Okay, ready about?
Ready. Ready.
Lee-ho!
It's It's amazing how much you can learn in one day's sailing.
I'm going to catch anything. A boot, maybe? Kipper?
Fish finger.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my God! You've got the knack of this, Richard. I'm impressed.
Okay.
What's it got those things?
I think it's nearly done it. Brilliant. Maybe even a torch.
You really had me going there. I wasn't too sure you were going to be able to come up with the goods at the end of the day.
Caught your fish, I cooked your fish. What more can you add?
Nice deal, do. I'll let you off.
You were pretty good today.
What's for pudding?
Oh, I think we'll have that on dry land.
Well, we haven't quite reached the land of silk and spices, but for a stroll and a picnic in ideal England, Salcombe is definitely worth a visit.
It's also a good place to continue your maritime education. This part of Devon is full of underwater mysteries, and if you've always dreamed of discovering the next Mary Rose, try out some diving.
What is the big attraction about poking round amongst old wrecks?
The real magic of wrecks is that when you dive, you can find a piece of wreckage that maybe nobody's seen, nobody's touched for several hundred years. You're the first person. You're reaching back in time, back in history. It's a museum that nobody's ever visited before.
So if you're heading for the southwest this summer and you're bored with beaches, why not set sail from Plymouth?
So here's the lowdown on Plymouth. Hotels are plentiful with bed and breakfast starting from £15 a night. For dinner, allow around £12 a head, and a Devon cream tea will cost you about £2.40. Boat trips. A 1-hour cruise past the naval dockyards is only £2.50 for adults and £1.50 for children. A trip up the River Tamar is £4.50 for adults, £3 for children. Or for rather more, £395, you can go on a 6-day sailing course, sleeping on board, visiting the Channel Islands and France. Last week, we sent Matthew Collins armed with his video recorder to try and shoot the big five: leopard, lion, elephant, rhino and buffalo on safari in the Masai Mara Game Reserve in Kenya. Here's his report.
Well, I've just had my first night in Kenya and the mosquitoes haven't bitten me yet. I'm 50 miles northwest of Nairobi in a hotel by Lake Naivasha.
And out on the lake I got my first glimpse of Kenyan wildlife, although no sign of the big five as yet. As we set out for the Masai Mara Game Reserve, I wondered how the others in my group had reacted to recent worries about the safety of tourists.
We had a few reservations, not so much me, but certainly my wife, but we inquired of the travel agents, and he assured us there was no problem. In fact, he said you were more likely to get attacked in Mallorca.
A brief stop gave me my first contact with the locals and the big game, giraffe. As we reached the wide open spaces of the Masai Mara, the hunt began in earnest.
Oh, look!
Oh, God. Beautiful. He made a kill, look. He's eating.
One of the easiest ways to spot the animals was to follow the crowd, and at last I found the first of my 5.
They never attack us simply because we always come to see them. And they are used to the cars, they are used to the people.
Dinner included tourist entertainment Maasai style. You have to get up early on a holiday like this, 6:30 to be precise. That day started well when we soon spotted a huge herd of buffalo.
The buffalo is the most dangerous animal in the bush. When it charges and gets you, it really makes sure that it is complete kill you.
Here he comes.
And the third of my 5, the elephant.
Oh, there's 2 little babies, 3 little babies. Yeah. 2 little babies and a bigger one. Well, I'm not getting out of the van.
You've got a heart condition as well, have you?
I've got a heart condition and an old war wound.
Come on.
We've got someone to our rescue.
I think so. Have we? No, there's somebody here.
This excitement is getting stuck in the mud as well. All adds excitement to the holidays.
Definitely.
What stories to tell?
For a small fee of about £3.30, villagers will let you look round their homes.
Whose house is this? Is this your house?
Yes, this one is.
Oh, God, I've just trodden a load of cow dung. Oh my God, I just put my boot in the cow dung.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yes, but inside is put again, that is lime.
Oh God, I'm too fat to get through the door.
And this was the master bedroom.
That's too bad.
This is the show house.
Yeah.
Well, I might not have seen the big 5, but the other animals more than made up for it.
That was a beautiful film, Matthew, but you didn't get all 5.
No, I didn't see any rhinos, but then I learned there are only 29 in the reserve, which is 700 square miles big. I didn't see a leopard, but I felt the cheetah made up for the leopard. And I saw millions of lions, or hundreds of lions, and I also learned loads of interesting things about lions, such as the fact that they mate in season 100 times a day. The male has loads of stamina.
Good Lord. Did you enjoy Africa?
Yeah, you looked impressed by that, didn't you? I did. I can see why people totally fall in love with Africa. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. The luxuriousness of the colours, the sky, the sun, and all that wonderful wildlife. Incredible.
Well, tomorrow you're off to Ishmael near Marmaris in Turkey for a week's hard work as a holiday rep. And the challenge is you've got to keep on smiling whatever happens and report back next week.
That'll make a change from chasing lions in Africa.
Now, this week's late availabilities. Here's our roundup of some of the best deals. From Gatwick on Saturday, Thomas Cook are offering 7 nights in Austria for £69, flight only. Also on Saturday, from East Midlands Airport, Air Tours have 14 nights in Mallorca, half board for £219. Departing from Manchester on Sunday with Sunset Holidays, 14 nights self-catering in Malta for £159. And finally, Portland Holidays have 14 nights self-catering in Gran Canaria for £179, departing from Gatwick on Monday. That's about it for this week. Next week on the Travel Show, Carol Smillie lights the Olympic flame in Barcelona and checks out the neighbouring resort of Salou, while Paddy Haycocks sees how the British resorts like Weymouth are giving the cut-price costers a run for their money. See you next week. Bye-bye.